Good morning, everyone. I would like to call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session for October the 5th. Item number 2 is public comments. Seeing none, we'll move on. I do have one item to add to the agenda. This is an event, free food, candy for everyone. So that is an addition to the agenda, and we'll take this up under the police department. This permit came in a little bit late to get it on the written agenda. Item number 3 is approval of the minutes. If you have in your package the September 7th minutes, are there any questions or corrections? Okay, we'll move that forward. Well, we're approved. Requests for actions or reports, have none under that. We'll move on to department reports. First up is Public Works, Director Eddie Plunka.
Thank you, Mayor. First one, we've had a request at this end of this little street that it has no name for a house and shop to be built on. Instead of naming off of Morton Drive, we'd like to name that street Olive Street, which the person that's developing the property asked for it to be named Olive Street. That was recommended out of the committee to move forward.
Any questions or discussions? Okay,
CDL driver's license request, I'm asking for $3,000. As you all know, CDL driver's license changed a couple of years ago, and they made them really hard to get. Now the guys go take their test, they pay for it. After they take their test, they have to come back and drive for so long and take another online test, and that test is $300. Then they have to go to Columbia and take a driving test, and that test is $75, which we've got that budgeted. But the $300 for them to take the test online, we don't have in the budget. And we've got 9 right now, and hopefully hire 1 or 2 more to get those the CDL driver's license. We try to require everybody, till this all came along, we required everybody at the street department now with a driver's license, CDL driver's license.
Do you have a time period from the time you hire someone for them to get these licenses, or they have to have them before you can put them to work?
We have one of 6 months, but when they changed all these laws and regulations, it makes it almost impossible to get one. We may you may get your permit, take the online test, and let's call Columbia, because you got to have that before you can call and set up your date. It may be 4 months before you get a date to go up and drive.
So you can't hire them. They can't work during that time.
We are.
Can they drive vehicles that has to have a CDL license during that time?
Certain trucks, no, they cannot.
Okay.
Our knuckle booms, garbage trucks, some of the dump trucks have to have CDLs to drive. The ton, gooseneck, they can drive those. But anything with air brakes, they can't drive.
What about the fire department? Does fire department have to have CDL license to drive those fire trucks?
They're exempt.
We're exempt.
Exempt. Okay.
$300 one time. If they don't pass the test, is it another $300?
It is to them, yes. We only pay the $300
One time.
once they get a CDL driver's license.
Okay.
Once they come back from Columbia and show us where they've passed their driving test, then we'll pay the $300 and the $75. So if it takes them, I mean, that's just like they're driving. If they go over and fail to drive, we don't pay it. They have to go pay the next time they're set. But when they bring us the paperwork back saying that they have passed, we reimburse them.
Any further discussion on the CDL? Okay.
Before I turn over to Kevin, I'm going to get everything off here. Paving started Monday. Thought it was gross yesterday, let them out on the street. They plan on being done tomorrow with all the paving. If you've been up north, they milled it Monday, and they plan on paving it today or tomorrow. They've done got Don Roman, Mark Drive, King Drive, the two King Drives,
William Battle.
William Battle. They've done got all those done.
And the bridge on William Jones, I've not been over there. I hear it's
Bridge
real
on
good.
It is. I was over there yesterday.
Yeah.
They're a little over half done. They've got the bottom, one wall up. The other wall is in the process of forming it up. He said, with, if the weather stays like it's been, he said in 2 weeks we'll probably be out here.
So we believe that outside of the little small bridge on Chevron Highway, still holding up good, but we believe we pretty well got these tiles.
Unless something develops, Danny, that we've tried to keep a check on.
Yeah.
And right now we're in pretty good shape.
Okay. Do we have any more tiles, or is it
Yes, sir. We got some on Bagley.
Jefferson maybe?
I believe Jefferson is a bridge.
Is it
Box Cove.
Maple's a bridge, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I believe it is. Well, we thinned them down.
Somewhere right in there is a tile in that area. I can't remember right off.
We got rid of most of them tiles, though.
Think up there around Ringo on Maple. There's one,
Okay.
maybe two up there. And that's all I've got. Unless it was Rowland's town on that last one. Thank you.
Mr. Plunkett is going to leave. He's got a trip, so if you have any questions, now is the time. Okay, Mr. Owens?
Good morning. I am doing item number 3, the downtown sidewalk project. The first thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that I did have a chance to meet with Houston Matthews. Mr. Matthews could not be here because he's had a fall trip scheduled for a month, so he could not be here today, but he will be here on Tuesday. But John and I met with Mr. Matthews, I think that was on September 13th, and we talked about the contingency. He is advising that the contingency not be a part of the contract, but more as if we want to use it as an accounting. And his advisement is based on, he felt like if it's part of the contract, it would be more reason for them to go further. So he would prefer that we use it as an accounting basis and then draw down as we need, but not give it in domain for the contractor. And he said he will give us more information on that when he's in attendance on Tuesday.
That makes sense.
The next part, as far as the funding, we have gone through several scenarios, and they're presented to you today, but there's a sheet that should be included in your package that goes and breaks down the funding that we see available. If you look in your package, and it's a sheet that looks similar to this one, it includes the total project that Adam has renegotiated and includes the contingency. So that would be with the two items and the 10% of contingency, it should be $1,607,744.60. As base as we can do, as we went and took out everything, we came down to about still $482,744.60. That includes the contingency. Right now, based on accounting, we felt like there was $277,109.75 in bond funds. Any other funding would probably have to be out of cash balance. Loretta has gone through, and it should be a sheet that was included on the desk today based on August 31st receipts. And that funding is available to you about what we do have, what is restricted and what is unrestricted. I'm going to put Loretta on the spot to see whether she has anything to add to that.
Yeah, just a little explanation. Restricted are things that are by law or by contract they're spoken for. You cannot use that money for other purposes. The assigned is what you all have said, okay, these are the projects, these are the things that we are committed by resolution or ordinance to, that you've committed to. The unassigned is, of course, the general fund is our operating, and the idle funds is what you would really be looking at as far as anything that you had to take out for some kind of special project.
And remind you that it's August 31st. We just entered this week in our property tax assessment, so our cash balance, this is a time that we receive a lot of our cash coming in, so that is as of August 31st, so we do expect even better numbers starting as of Monday.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Idle funds for us is the same thing as reserve funds for other people, or rainy day funds. I've been here 15 years, I believe. We've never taken anything out of idle funds or anything at all, period. We've let that accumulate. So the numbers I've got is, even after not considering the restricted funds, we can't consider them, even after the capital funds, down here at the bottom is pretty well spoken for, I guess. I'm coming up 4.1 million on top of the idle funds. Why would we consider pulling anything out of the reserves when we got 4.1 million unassigned in operating, liquid funds, and the CD? I don't see why we would consider pulling anything out of those idle funds with another 4.1 million. And like you said, property tax is going to start rolling in here right away.
Right.
So we're going to see that top number right up there at the top probably go up, more likely should go up quite a bit.
Right.
The idea of taking anything out of those reserve funds and idle funds, I am 100% against, period,
Okay.
for anything. I don't see why we want to do that when we've got 4.1 million on top of that, and on top of the restricted funds, and on top of the assigned funds. Why would we not, if we take anything out of fund balance, why would we not take that out of the 4.1 million, knowing that we got over 3 million more coming in on property taxes in the next 3 or 4 months? So the idea of taking anything out of the idle funds that was mentioned, I would not be for that, period. I would be for taking out of the 4.1 that's not assigned to anything at all. That 4.1 is not, the 4.1 is just strictly operating liquid funds, which is not too hard to get a hold of, and the CD was not come due yet. So I wouldn't want to start down the path of getting anything out of those idle or reserve funds, because we've never done it since I've been here that I know of. It just continues to build, drawing interest all along, and they are for emergencies.
Right.
And we got other funding available here
Right.
that we can use other than getting that reserve fund.
Would that draw down your operating funds?
Yeah, it would, but again, we got
They
our
will be
property
replaced
taxes
with
are coming
taxes that are
in.
coming on, okay.
Yeah, timing is good as far as that. I
Yeah,
mean,
so as far as you've got a good, healthy cash balance in your general fund.
Good.
And it's gonna get a lot healthier.
right.
Yeah, and because we just started collecting property taxes this week.
And along about Christmas time, sales tax gonna pop up.
Correct.
And with those sales tax, we see those for about 2 months in arrears.
That's been my fear all along, that we were tapping into the idle funds, and if we don't have to, I'm comfortable.
Right.
No, I don't see any reason for even considering that. I don't see any reason for recommending that, period.
What
Or
is the,
even
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just making a point here. You go right ahead.
Okay, I was just going to ask, what is the purpose of liquid funds? I see that listed here at 281,000.
They draw interest.
It's an
Yeah,
interest.
I would like to, after we get some footing, after we get our conversion completed and get through our audit for the year, I would like to sit down with Mr. Owens and sit down and look at these cash balances and see if we cannot get some more interest out of some of these things. I like, to maximize our interest and maximize what we're holding, to make sure we're getting some of the best rates. I see that as being a future with the interest rates increasing. Wasn't so much when the interest rates were so incredibly low, it wasn't really a need to look at much. But as the interest rates rise, we may want to look at some of those and try to see if we can make a little bit more money out of them.
That was going to be my next question. With the interest rate so low, is that really helping us leaving that money there? But I could see for future if leaving the account open in the event that the market changes.
I'm not too sure that those liquid funds is not really a part of the idle funds. I think once just looked into real close, it very well could be that those liquid funds has being counted with idle funds. Now, whether they really are or not, I don't know, because we've had reports of 4.3 million, 4.4 million in idle funds. It's dropped off here a little bit. It can't be dropping off. It's got to be going up. There's no reason for it to drop off. So I'm suspecting that there's probably a little something else in there that will end up in the idle funds. But anyway, it's not off that much. But I know that we got 4.1 million not assigned to anything. It's not, we're operating on it, but it's not assigned to anything at all. We're looking at property taxes will begin to come in by next April or whenever. Of course, that'll continue to build that fund up. I mean, it'll go down and it'll go up as it goes down, kind of, but it'll go up more probably. So, probably looking at $3 million in property taxes coming in the middle of time. We're going to be looking maybe if we have a good year, Christmas sales tax going to be up some. So, I'm still on these sidewalks. On the extra funding, I'm kind of still with where I was last month. Pulling the extra out of the fund balance, since the fund balance is so strong. The problem I see right here with the 277,000, I'll tell you where I see a problem there a little bit. Yes, that's available in a bond issue, but we've got two projects that we've not done yet. We've got two drainage projects, one on Hillview and we've got one on 3rd Avenue. Now the Hillview is a small project. If the engineer can figure out how to do anything, and it's not on them, it's not on engineers, it's just a difficult situation. The one on 3rd Avenue is budgeted for $175,000. The way things has been the last 2 or 3 years or whatever, and when we bid that out, if we do proceed with that, we will never get that done for $175,000. We're going to pay engineering fees off. The engineering has not been done on it yet. It's just a ballpark figure they gave us. So that's $17,500 on engineering off the top. Time that bids, it will never come in. It will never come in. That number is going to be quite a bit more. If we don't have that 277 sitting there for a few months till we close out these projects, out, we could end up going over.
So are you saying that to leave the bond fund alone as far as the sidewalks are concerned?
I would like to leave the bond fund alone until we finish those two drainage projects, because I think it's going to come in quite a bit more than what we have got. Yes, and to me, what I'm looking at is the strength of the fund balance. We can do that third one, I believe, the strength of the fund balance, rather than using the bond issues. Of course, if you want to use the bond issues, there's another scenario to that. If you rather use the bond issues and do a blend, partly bond and partly fund balance, if those projects do go over, then we could turn right around and pull them out of the fund balance. There's no difference either way.
That's what I would be
There's no
comfortable
difference either way.
with.
If-
I would be comfortable
Yeah.
with some of the bond
Yeah.
fund being available to the sidewalk project.
You could do that, just as long as we remember, if that project on Third Avenue goes over, as long as we remember, we might have to drop back and pull some out of fund balance to finish that project up. But, that's, but, that's a maybe, we don't know.
Right.
So that, I don't see if you want to do a blend,
That's what I would be comfortable
I think that could work. I mean, and also too, another thing that would help with that is the 146,000 contingency, but not being actually tied up in the bid. If it's sitting over here in the fund to pull from, it might be that we might pull
That
very
it's
much
all we
that
need.
out. So it might not be a bad idea to look at maybe a couple 100,000 out of the bond fund, and maybe the other 200 and another 282 out of fund balance, and just do it, get it done.
Would you be comfortable with the contingency being out of bond funds? In my discussion with Houston, he said he doubted it would be up to 10%, so that would leave a little bit if we don't use all of that
Yeah.
146.
What's that contingency consist of? Is that like infrastructure, just in case the water, is this more supplies?
Yeah.
It's just insurance, almost like making sure, if anything.
So it could go up too as well?
Yeah, he says typically 5%, but he said he thought 10% was certainly
Well,
generous.
the thing about that is, it's going to be in a separate fund. It doesn't matter if it's 5 or 10.
Correct.
It don't
Yeah,
really
that's right.
matter.
But you want to take the 146 out of the 277?
But why, take the 146, just don't put it in
With the rest of it.
Yeah, take it out of the 100,607,000. So basically what we'd end up with that is, we'd end up with a bid, 1.4 million. We'd end up with a contingency sitting over the side in case you had to have it assigned for that sidewalk project. We would end up with a couple of 100,000, if that's what you want to do, out of the bond issue to help on the sidewalks, and another 282,000 out of fund balance to finish it all up. And we would still be strong any way you look at it. Be a pretty good blend, But I'm good with that. That's what, I just want to get it done, just whatever it takes. I will say this, I really appreciate the numbers. I mean, the more information we have to make a decision, we can make it. And we've got this month cash balance sheet. And this helps a whole lot because we definitely know where we at now. Everybody's got the numbers in front of
Absolutely
them.
appreciate y'all crunching those numbers as you did to come up with what we can see here. Thank you.
One thing I do want to point out is that August and September also are generally your more leaner months, because that's the point in time before you start collecting your property taxes. But yet you've already passed your budget, so your spending for the current year has started, but the collections of the revenue has not. So August, September, and are generally going to be your leaner months.
And if anybody wasn't comfortable taking 200,000 out of the thing and leaving 77, that number can be moved. I mean, if you want to take 150 out and shift it, but maybe the administration can come back with a blend of that by the board meeting after you crunch your numbers some more and all, and have a blend put together for us, itemized, where everybody's coming from. If the board's happy with it, good. I'll be good whatever you come back with. And we can tweak it. We can make some changes. That work?
I think it sounds really good to me. I know we had talked previously about the bond account. We wanted to try to spend that money and kind of clear that out. But like you say, I mean, whether you take it out of the general operating or, the bond, it can all be moved back and forth as we need it. So whatever
It'll work.
is thing, but
It might
maybe,
work.
yeah.
It'll work.
Maybe come Tuesday night for the vote with a plan where the administration feels more comfortable where we should be.
Because they do the numbers.
Right, right.
I'm good with that. I'm good with it. Just, it's good to see we've got something clear here now to look at. This month, we got something clear to look at. And I know y'all worked hard on this, and I appreciate it.
And a little bit more explanation on the contingency. Seems like if you put it in there, they can find a way to spend it. If you just kind of have it on the side as an insurance, then they don't know that. And, I'm not saying.
That's
it's
what,
just-
that's what they just said, yeah.
Right.
That it would be taken out of the contract, yeah.
Yeah,
But I was just explaining the contingency a little
Gotcha.
bit more so that everybody would understand that, it's kind of like in your purse. If you got cash in your purse, it's easier to spend it rather than having to go home and get it. So that's the same thing with this for the contingency, and that explains it for the public.
Yeah, I don't add to that. That's good with me. I just want it to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's going to be some things that'll come up that it's going to be extra.
Yeah.
It won't go down, that's for sure.
Right. Any other discussion? So we'll move this to the board meeting, and we'll have tighter numbers and something to look at on that for Tuesday night. Okay, now we'll move to the police department, and this morning we have Commander Templeton with us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chief and I have reviewed the item 1, the pay scale for the K-9. The K-9 is currently getting paid at a level 6, which is a lieutenant's pay, which is a mid-level supervisor's pay. We are wanting to amend with the approval of the board to drop that back down to a patrolman status, which is a level 4. Whenever the person gets promoted into the K-9 position, they will gain a step within that level 4, plus additional 3 hours for K-9 kennel care. Whereas before, if they were getting paid overtime, they were getting paid as a lieutenant or a high-ranking supervisor's pay in overtime, as opposed to a patrolman's pay. So this is a way of trying to get our budget back in line with as it should be, as it had been in the past. Does anyone have any questions?
So now you've got, is this going to affect the employees you have right now?
It will not affect Andy Rodriguez, who is currently locked in. We're going to do this basically as a 2-tier. Andy will be a tier 1, and the new incoming K-9 will be a tier 2. And then whenever Andy retires, decides to get rid of the dog, and we're not going to affect his pay, but once that position is open again, everything will be moved back down to the previous tier.
So it doesn't hurt anybody?
It's not going to hurt anybody's pay. And when we hired in the new K-9 officer, we made the stipulation that we were looking to change the pay away from the lieutenants back down to a patrol status. And every single one we asked, is this going to be an issue? They all indicated to the negative that it was not going to affect their
But they
decision.
do get some extra because of taking care of the canine.
Yes, yes,
On the
sir.
side, kind of, that's.
Yes, sir.
What is that, 300?
3 hours, and then
3 hours?
3 hours for canine kennel care. And like I said, we'll also bump them up one step, not a full level, but a full step from what they were, to give them a little incentive to the position.
As long as it's not hurting anybody.
So
No,
it's going to
sir.
be
We made
one
sure
step,
that-
it's going to be one step below a regular patrol.
Correct. Or it'll be, if they were, say they were to level 2 as a patrolman, when they took the position, we'll bump them up to a level 3 within or bump them up to step 3 within that same level. So they're going to get a little incentive to to move within, but we're not moving them all the way up to a supervisor's pay.
No, I agree with that. I don't think that, I mean, do they deserve it? Yes, but I think they deserve a little bit more than a regular patrolman because that dog is their livelihood.
Yes,
I mean, they feed that dog, they stay with that dog, that's with them every day. They got to walk it when they're out working.
Yes, sir.
But I just wonder if one step above is enough. That's what I think they deserve more than one step above.
And again, we're also going to pay, they'll get the 3 additional hours, and then
Is that 3 hours, what?
I believe that's going to be a week, or 3 hours a week.
A week.
It's a week.
3 hours a week, 6 hours pay period.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, we're ready to move. We have some permits that we're requesting. We have the Spirits or Spirits, which is an annual event that goes around the square. It'll be October 21st. LC Fire Trunk or Treat event will be the 28th. The Parks and Rec have submitted a request for the trunk or treat as we did last year at Stone Ridge Park, same place. We've already been reaching out to some businesses. Some have indicated they're interested. So we're going to carry on with that. The Mingle and Jingle permit, I believe, is also a reoccurring one. Our annual host of Christmas Past, along with the Bellas 5K run, those two usually run in conjunction. The Small Business Saturday event permit will be for November 25th. I believe the celebration permit will be a new one. It'll be November 4th. I personally do not have information on that. Ms. Mayor, do you have anything on that one?
That's on the celebration permit. I do not have that.
Okay, I'm sorry. That would be November 4th. The annual toy drive for the fire department will be December 2nd. And as was mentioned earlier, I'll go ahead and put this out, the free food and candy for everyone. It was an event permit that came in before that last committee meeting, but there was some information that had not been filled out, so we had her come back and fix the request. By the time she got it in, the committee meeting had met, and I spoke with Mr. Owen and was hoping to get this one pushed in as well. Ms. Sheena Easley is wanting to host this at Stonebridge Park. It's going to be free food and candy and things, events for the community. They're not asking for anything. They're just wanting to use the park and give back to the community. So.
Kobe, on the application there, it's got S.J. King. Is it Stonebridge?
I'm sorry, S.J. King.
Okay, all right. And also on this celebration, it is in our package, celebration November the 4th. It's from 12 o'clock to 4 p.m. This also is at the S.J. King Park. Contact person on this is Melissa Burt, and it's a customer appreciation. So this company is also giving back to the community for the children and the families to come out, and they reference it like a birthday party for them. So does anybody have any questions about any of these events? Okay, we'll move these on for a vote to Tuesday night.
Thank you.
Do you have any other thing for the police department? Is that
That is all for the police
concludes all
department.
of the, okay. All right, thank you. Next up is Chief Kimbrough, Fire Department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a oath of office for the new firefighter, Sarah Davis. We actually hired her a couple months ago, but we're going to get the paperwork done to get her oath of office done. And also I have an emergency purchase for a fuel pump for engine 4. I'm not taking no money out of I'm not asking for no money. I'm taking the money out of my maintenance funds. It's just some paperwork we have to get done because it was an emergency purchase to get approved by y'all. As far as the director's report, of course, we did respond to the mutual aid call at Park City last month. And then we also had a rescue on top of the Daikin building, or not Daikin, excuse me, Aaron's, for a guy that got electrocuted up on top of it just recently. And that's my report, unless y'all have any questions for me.
We appreciate the fire department, the fire out the highway. I mean, y'all stepped up and went out there, saved the guy there at Aaron, so y'all are very important to our community.
Appreciate it.
Parks and Recs Department.
It's me again.
It's you again.
Is Alan, do you want to take this first one, or?
Okay, well, I asked if this could come through the Parks and Rec Committee. We had started discussing bathrooms last month, and we applied for the grant, which we did not receive the grant. But I still wanted to put this out here. This is something I would be interested in as far as public restrooms. These trailers are used in lots of other cities. We could use this on the square for events. We could take it to Don Davidson for the fireworks event. We could use it for the fishing rodeo and the soccer field. So I just wanted to put that out there as an option that I like and see how the board, what y'all thought about those.
What truck would pull that? What truck we have? Three-quarter ton pull it. And we're getting three-quarter ton trucks, right?
Yes, sir. Which I think the rec department, I think the trucks they have a couple three-quarter tons.
Do
Yes, sir. So it could be full bus area.
So who empties this? You pay somebody to empty it? You have
I
to
think you would have paid somebody to come
pump
up
it
with
out,
it.
no? Like just like a little
Porta potty.
gizmo sitting right
It's one of
over
those
there.
fancy ones. We had this brought up before, a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, as a matter of fact.
We did,
The city would own it
yeah.
and move it around.
Yeah, we looked at some at Don Davidson Park, I believe, did we?
Yes, and they do have heat and air.
Well, they're quite fancy.
Yeah, and this one is ADA though.
So you gotta have electricity wherever you hook it up at.
Yes.
Okay. And it is ADA approved. Well, I think that's probably, might be worth considering for the record. Some of the soccer field, maybe some around the square. My thoughts is one around the square, eventually I would like to see a real one there, at some point. A good one. Stay there, all the time, but don't know when it'll be, so anyway.
My concern with these are, I know when we checked in it before, you have to either have a pump station like, I know where campers and campgrounds, they have facilities there where you hook up, you empty your tanks and everything like that. We do not have anything. And I think we had the closest person that could come would be out of Birmingham, and they have to come and empty these tanks. Would definitely have to check into the cost on that. I guess if it's a large event, but most of our parks already have bathrooms. Soccer field is the only one that does not have stationary bathrooms, correct?
That is, Don Davidson has been temporarily shut down because of the condition of some of the buildings down there. The one on the very far side of the roof is dilapidated, and it's almost unserviceable. Well, actually, at this point, it is unserviceable. And to my knowledge, Mr. Carter had rented porta potties to use during the softball field because the other on the upper end was also out of service.
And then if we're going to use it for the square on a daily basis, I don't know where we would park this for the public or the tourists to use.
Oh, yeah, well, I wasn't considering using that on a daily basis. I was just talking about for events.
Events.
Yeah.
See, it's got,
And the pumping comes out of, just like is it Halls, portables? That's the same kind of, where they pump out your porta potties, is it the ones that come to bring the porta potties out?
I do believe they do.
They do the
switch out.
pumping.
But as Ms. Hartman said, Mayor Hartman said, I'm not, we'd have to research that a little more in depth.
The black water and the regular water.
When I spoke with Alderman Allen before, we kicked around the idea of the sewage, waste station here. They may have the ability, if we could pull in there, we just have to research that a little more, depending on how serious we want to take this.
Yeah, I just wanted to put this out here as another option.
Okay. Well, it says, overview for schools, emergency management, and parks. So that is, the big thing is about is it can be moved from one place to another, so it's temporary.
And I will say, and y'all are more than well aware, we do have quite a few events that can draw large crowds, like the Host. And of course, it didn't happen this year, but the car show, the Slawburger Fest, and things like that definitely draw a crowd. And y'all are more than well aware of the problems we have with restrooms and people wanting to use them here or in the other businesses. And some businesses unfortunately shut down and don't let them use as appropriately or as needed. So.
Yeah, I don't know where you set it up. Well, I guess it'd have to be set up, if you use it on the square, it probably have to be set up on the square, maybe it's somewhere at the inside area, because it's gotta be level. You can't, we got a parking lot down yonder off College, but this thing gotta be level.
Well, you would definitely want it closer to your events. I think that's the whole,
Yeah.
whole logistics behind it.
It'd be right in there with them. All right.
Or you could set it off, just off the square. I don't think you would want them inside the square, because that's gonna take up a lot of spaces that we could, the events can rent out. But, if you just go off the square a block or two,
Right there where just the sky, blue sky and where the old Sirs was, something like that.
Something like that. It's still accessible and it's nearby, but it's not right in the mix, because then everybody's watching, these people been
Is the
in line.
courthouse open at all during any events, during Main Street events, during first Saturdays?
Is the what?
The courthouse.
I don't think
They
so.
have not been this year. Not
Why
this year.
would Main Street not pay them little money to open the doors and get somebody there to clean them up afterwards? And then Main Street has bathrooms too as well, right? Do they have bathrooms in their building?
They should.
They have one.
Oh, they have not.
And is that open for their events that they host?
Yes.
I know one issue with the courthouse, of course, they have to have a deputy there if those.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
open for
Why don't
security.
Main Street pay for that security and that opening up for those events? Because I don't think it'd be that much compared to the millions and if we spend $500,000 on public bathrooms or $1 million or something, I don't know what it would cost, but sure would make life easier if they would, Main Street would pay them a little bit of money for that on weekends.
Well, Main Street's not the only one that uses it. I mean, the Chamber has events.
Well, anybody
a lot
that
of-
uses it.
Yeah. And they have that option. I mean, you can. The only thing that I see that they have run into, if it's like a holiday weekend, then your deputies get holiday pay, and that makes it extremely expensive for
Well,
that.
I think they got reserve
And-
officers that actually get paid. Some of them get paid to do events like that.
But it's holiday pay because
Reserve
they have,
officers don't get holiday pay. They get paid for different events at certain, like ball games and stuff.
well, I know that the sheriff, that is what they told Main Street was, it was holiday pay. And so that, they kind of ran into that. I know I came over, that was Labor Day weekend, and I came and opened this building for people to use the bathroom. So you kind of get into that. But I know that people have paid for the courthouse to be open. I know they've used portable restrooms, so they've used everything that they can, but it would just be such, a addition to our city to have public restrooms like other cities have, especially if you're a tourist town. That's what you have to consider. That's what you are. So I think that's, a big issue there that we need to address sooner than later. So, thank you. Any other questions on the portable restroom? We'll look into that and get some more cost on the pumping and ideas like that.
And I'll see if I can reach out to the field station out here, the sewage, and see if there's an option to hook up to their services, if that's possible. Or even like Alderman Martinez said, maybe check in with Hall or something like that, see if that's feasible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For my report, we have recently hired Nathan Browning as the new director. I will be stepping down just as soon as he gets in. I will remain out there to assist him for a little while, but he will start this coming week. As I mentioned earlier, we have applied for the trunk or treat for the night of Halloween, which we're going to go from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. Again, we're reaching out to businesses and anyone else who wants to come out. We just ask that they kind of notify us so we can make plans accordingly for their arrival. Last year there was tons of kids that came out, and people were actually running out of candy. We had so many. We had to send people to stores and get what we could, what was left, and there wasn't a whole lot left, unfortunately. We had a tree removed at Stonebridge Park recently. We've got another one we're going to have to look to take down. It's hollowed out, and we just want to make sure that the public is safe with the removal of that. And lastly, we had the sealed bids for the Independence Day Fireworks Festival. Pyro Shows, which is the one who put on the show last year, had the winning bid through the sealed bid. They were actually the only ones that bid. And we had that opening a couple of days ago. And we were actually under budget as far as their price.
Great.
Anything else?
Kobe, I just want to tell you thank you for stepping up and taking the Parks and Recs department. You've done a fabulous job in such a short period of time, and you've done great. I've known Nathan for a long time. He's a super person, and I know that you'll be there to back him and help him, and we appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Planning and Codes Department. Today, we have Jack Williams with us, and Jill Smith is back recording for us today. So,
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. First thing we have is we have the animal ordinance, and we'll let Johnny Hill take that one.
And this is coming to the board through the IT Planning Committee. Before it got to the committee, we had a meeting with the Planning Department personnel and Chief Pendergraft and a few other members of the Police Department, just to discuss ongoing issues with animals, particularly fowl, chickens in the city. At that point, at the meeting we had, we decided basically to come to the committee and see how they felt about taking this up at this point. The committee recommended that we look at, well, I'll say the existing ordinance basically allows anyone who is looking to have animals within 1,000 feet of a residence or business to apply for a permit. The committee members recommended that we, particularly in residential areas, they didn't want chickens, fowl, so it was their recommendation that we look at amending the existing ordinance to just do away with having livestock within that 1,000. So I have amended, what I brought to you is an amendment of the existing ordinance, which rather than allowing someone to seek a permit within that 1,000-foot area would basically be a ban for having these animals within a 1,000-foot area. So if you're a larger area, more of an agricultural piece of property, you could still, just like you can now without a permit, you'd still be the same.
So basically what we're doing, we're taking the current ordinance, we're taking out the permit part of that ordinance and just saying it's banned.
That's
It
correct.
is not. If
That's
it's a
correct.
larger piece of property. That's great. Okay. Any questions on this ordinance?
What about the people's already got chickens or whatever? How's this
I don't,
affect them?
as far as I know, no one has ever been given a permit. So I think if someone had a permit, obviously they would be looking at being grandfathered in.
Right. But if they don't have a permit.
If they don't have a permit, they
Okay.
have them illegally to begin
Okay.
with, so.
Right.
No, there aren't any permits out there.
Okay, I want to make that clear because that's going to come up.
That's been part of the problem is that, a lot of people just do it without even applying for the permit, and then, maybe somebody comes out and talks to them about it, and then they apply for the permit, and they keep them without having been granted the permit. So that seems to be the problem is, the process that we have isn't being followed.
Correct. Commander?
There was at one point, there were a couple of temporary permits that were issued a couple of years ago when Chief Howell was in for those who had 4-H chickens, show chickens, but they were given like 1 year leniency for that event. But that would have long expired by now. But there are no permits that we are aware of.
So is Jill getting calls? Is that, are you getting calls or?
Yes, we're getting several calls, several complaints about the people who already have chickens. So what I done was I went to every property that I knew had chickens, and I had them come in, fill out an application, and Jesse Casilla and I and Jack as well would go to the properties and look to see if they were following what was said in the ordinance, and pretty much every one of them were not in 1,000 feet from, you know, the properties beside them or the highway or anything. So they have been denied. And the one that Colby was talking about, they did remove their chickens. So they were sent, that they were denied. So then they have recently, within the last few days, removed the chicken coop. So we're in the process of sending letters to each person to let them know that they were denied because of the area that they lived in.
So what happens if they do have them anyway?
We could cite them into municipal court and potentially be fined $50 a day.
Same as like cutting the grass. I mean, has it been a huge problem? I'm just curious.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is we have a newer resident that is going to be a problem if we don't do something. I mean, this newer resident is bringing really the farmhouse in, so we got to do something to get that from becoming larger.
I would like to say that this has definitely been a problem since, I was here under Chief Barnes, and fowl have been the bane of our existence for as long as I can remember. Through every chief, it's been a problem with the fowl, chickens and ducks, and we've even had pigs and goats and horses as an issue, so it has been a problem. And Jesse, or Commander Casillas, has worked with these two, and it seems like that's all they're doing is chasing, chickens and issues with dogs being kept improperly too. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this ordinance? If not, we'll move it forward to Tuesday night. Okay, Jack?
All right, on number 2, the banner proof. I know Christie has had some of those, the banner changed. I think you got some stuff you guys talked about. You guys have those?
This is the one we kind of came up with.
Yes,
through the
yes,
committees.
she had those.
The volunteer statute, welcome to Federal Tennessee, and when we was established 1809, it's kind of where we came up with.
So, I like that one.
I like the greenery in the background, the trees. What it don't have on there, don't have whiskey on there.
That's the goal, yes.
That seems to have been kind of an issue for some people.
Yes, sir.
Now, some of the examples have some flowers on there. Like we have one person in particular liked them flowers real well.
Yes, they were very nice.
But it kind of distracted from some things here. But I had to state flower. I think iris is, but
The examples
well,
that we have are nice, very nice.
We've got to state everything. So this kind of connects us with a volunteer slogan, kind of in a way.
Is this the final, or are there more proofs to look at, or is this the final?
I think that's what she came up with.
That's what she came up with.
So
The only other thing that you had was along the side right here was some flowers. Along the side right here, took up about quite a bit of the thing, irises. And we had a choice whether to have it established in 809 or not have it. We kind of decided to have it in there, but really the only other thing she had was could have been these flowers right down through here.
And they'll be in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, irises are the state flowers, so.
Anyway, this is kind of what we came up with. Now, I don't know who came up with the statue. I don't have any idea who came up with it. I don't know.
I'm not sure where that originally came from, so.
Just what, this is what hit our committee, who came up with the statue. I don't have a clue.
Okay, so is this something that we need to take for a vote on this, or is this
Well-
decided by the committee and?
No, do we have money in the budget for this?
There was some money placed in the budget for that.
I tell you what, these flags is gonna be all over town. I would like the whole board to act on this.
Right,
I really would. We did on the other. We did on the other.
that's what I
I'd
thought,
like the
but,
whole board to act on this. It shouldn't just be a committee decision. And if the whole board don't like it, we'll start over.
yeah, that's why I thought maybe some options,
Yeah,
but if this
but
is.
These were the
okay.
options that came down to keep from having so many to pick from, so many of us to try to help choose. So we've got these two options.
I think it was three.
Three,
that she
okay.
gave.
So we'll get to
I
look at
haven't
those.
seen the options.
You kind of narrowed it down to this one. I don't guess those two's on here. No, they're not on here.
I know it was in committee.
She has
we can-
previous
yeah, we-
ones.
Yeah, they went through committee, but we could send those back. It was three that went through the planning committee, but we could make sure those go back out too.
Okay,
You can pull them up through the committee,
Yes.
IT planning committee information that was uploaded.
okay. So as I say, I haven't not seen those, so.
Right.
Okay, okay, we'll move that forward Tuesday to vote. Okay,
Okay. All right, as far as the report, we have quite a bit going on in demolition. I guess you maybe noticed around town, over on, let's see, on Maple Street West here, Jeff Parker's finished cleaning that one up and slicked it off. It looks really good.
It
He
does.
got that one out. We're proud of that one. Jill's been working really hard to get these things done. The house behind Ken's on Walnut, gotten it done. There may be a little bit of debris left there, maybe to pick up. I'm not sure. And also, we've written 2 demolition permits for 606 Kiwanis and 610. So those are going to be coming down, and we're working on, Johnny Hill actually is working with Jill on 603 Kiwanis. There's some things there, some legal things and some issues with it, but we're going to try to go approach that one where we would probably tear it down and do a lien on that one. So that's the kind of approach we're at right now. So quite a bit going on there and getting things cleaned up. And then on Lynn Drive, the old craft building, which has been an ongoing issue. Jill had the owner in court on the 2nd. Judge Thompson's not happy with what's going on. Just nothing's really happening. So he gave him a week. So October the 9th we go back, and if nothing's done, he's going to impose a $50 a day fine until something's done. So that's where we're at with that. So, also, and then as far as the new construction going on, the D&M Market, the Planning Commission gave them approval for their construction plans for, that's on Winchester Highway, going up Tullahoma Highway there. So, and then as far as the other issue, we have just a lot of questions on the old Taco Bell building. T-Mobile's putting their office there, but had to put a stop work on them because once they got to where they're at, I don't know if you guys have been by to see what's left. There's a lot of structural issues. The red iron's rotted. There's a lot of rust, a lot of span issues. So right now we have they have an engineer working on it to see what can be done. So they're kind of under stop right now. So hopefully they can get that figured out and move forward with it. It's not much left there to say, but that's why it's at a standstill.
it looks better now than it did as a Taco
It's just, there's
Bell.
not much left there. I'm
Yeah.
not sure the purpose for saving what they did, but they did the best they've done. The contractor's been really good to work with.
Good.
So but we just want to make sure that, once that thing's up, that it's right and it'll stand there. So, let's see. Also, I think the CGI videos were uploaded to the city's website. I don't know if you guys have seen those. So. All right. And what else? We have, okay, our blueprint guy picked up another box. Mr. Bill, he's our blueprint archives, so he's going to start. We've got that going again. That budget was, that was put in the budget, and he was awarded that, so we'll, glad to see that done, preserve what we've got. And I think Christy said she had 7 visitor guide requests were made in September. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for planning? Thank you, Jack.
Okay. Thank you.
IT Department, Mr. Owens.
Good morning again. I will be giving the IT committee report, as mentioned in committee meeting this Saturday. Lucas will be getting married, so he's out preparing to be a groom on Saturday. But for the IT committee, Lucas has been in the office this week, and he's been a part of the team working on the conversion. It's been a lengthy process. Started probably going into the new fiscal year, but we have had people in the office, and Lucas has been very helpful in trying to set the system up, as well as Zach prior to him leaving. So he was working with that crew all the way up until yesterday. I think they were working till yesterday. And I think Loretta will give you a little more about the conversion process in her report. But Lucas also adds in his report that he has been working on website updates. He's been working on printers for the HR department division. And he's also has started ordering, or they started ordering the equipment to go for the Square sound system. So that is in process. We're hopeful to have it there by the holidays. We don't think we'll make host, but we're hopeful to have it for the holidays. And as soon as he comes back from honeymooning, he's going to start the lighting process. So that was started as soon as he gets back. And that ends the IT committee report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Next, we have Loretta Garner for Finance Department.
Yes. The budget amendment that you have before you is just, it's a pass-through from the school. Other than that, I don't really have any other comments other than it's presented there. As far as our director's report, we have, we're started with our conversion process. It is a lengthy process, and we did want to make sure that everybody knows that we are put at the top of their list to get our credit cards up and going, but at this point in time, we're not able to accept them for our property taxes, and that may be an inconvenience for some of our residents. And we hate that, but we are working on trying to get that resolved as quickly as possible. And local option sales tax for August was down. It was $296,861.88. However, it has seen an increase of 40% since before the pandemic in 2019. So overall, it's seen a steady increase, but again, August is one of the leaner months. And the same goes for the occupancy tax. It was for $9,011.60. It's seen a 4% increase since the 2019 year. And we will be sending these cash reports out monthly so that you all have those that information each month to make your decisions with. And so if anybody has any questions, feel free, give me a call.
Okay, no questions? And that leads us back to Mr. Owens for our administration report.
Well, good morning again. And if I may start, I will start with the Animal Control Transition Report. As of Saturday, the Humane Society is no longer our official animal control vendor. I do want to give kudos. They were successful with having all the animals that were housed, adopted, or placed in a responsible home. So we started out with 0. As far as the transition process, which I consider that now, the Humane Society is, right now as we speak, they're moving items. They're expected to have all of their belongings moved no later than Saturday, maybe Monday the earliest. So they're in the process of moving anything that belongs to them out of the 1718 Pulaski facility. So we're doing that. Over the past month, we have had a number of meetings, probably about 10 or more, and some of the meetings were with the Humane Society, that's the board. Some was with the Humane Society director as far as transition. Most had dealt with the county. We had the police department as well as the sheriff's department and the comm center. And bottom line, we talked about all the things that we needed to do to transition, as well as have services during the interim period, and how do we get services going as of January 1st, which we hope to have full-fledged service on January 1st. Right now, we are retaining 3 of their employees to help with if we have any emergency cases, and there's abuse cases, people who just leave animals or anything that is just out of the norm. So we have 3 that we're retaining, and we're hopeful that they will be a part of the permanent solution once we get to January 1st. We also are in the process of transferring any license, any utilities. There's about 7 contracts that the Humane Society had that we're going to have to put in either the county and the city's name. They include things like security. They include things like exterminating, medicine. It's at least 7 items that we're going to have to transfer between the Humane Society to either the city or the county. So we're in the process of doing all of those. We also have things we have to change in insurance. So the county's working with us to cover some, as well as the city. We have started working with FPU as far as utilities, and they should be today going back to, I think, the county's name as far as utilities. We're doing inventory. We got a lot of things that we're going to have to rebuild. We even started rebuilding on furniture. Our employees, they have no furniture there, so we're working to start inventory of all the equipment that's going to be needed, including food, medicine, furniture, everything that's going to be needed out there. We're going to have a list that's going to come before the fire and police, as well as the committee, the 1st of November, as well as the work session of things that we're going to try to do for the January 1st date. We know there's going to be a lot of things we're going to need to order in order to have operation in-house. One of the things that is happening even this morning, the sheriff's department is over there supposed to be doing an assessment of how they're going to be able to help fill in. We're expecting the vehicle to be returned to some entity by the end of the week. That's going to be something that the county is going to have to take responsibility of insuring. So they're working on that as we speak as well. So in summary, we got a lot of things going on. They're consistently changing. They're probably going to be evolving for the next 45 days or so, but we're continuing meeting on the transition plan. And I'm able to answer any questions that you all have.
Those 3 employees, are they part-time or full-time?
One is full.
One full-time will be out there all the time during the day.
Basically, yes. Yes.
To take in the animal.
Yes. And she's also going to help us with the transition process, as far as is a former vet tech, but she has the ability, if we have to do any medicine administering, she can do all of that.
She's licensed for all
Yes.
that work.
Yes.
She's not licensed though for the other medicines, right? There's the medicine that's got to be under a veterinarian.
Yes, and one of the things we're doing too, they do have a licensed veterinarian that's going to be part of the contract of part-time that we're going to use. But she can do the emergency stuff.
In the meantime, who's going to house the animals?
Right now, the animals are going to be housed there. We are discouraging just general right now, although we know for real that people are going to have situations. We had a situation even Friday that we're going to have to house because of a law issue, but we're going to have them still housed at the facility.
So they'll be housed at that place out there?
Correct.
That will still be partly open?
Well,
it's going to be very little open. We're not trying to have where the public can interact right now.
This situation we have to deal with.
Exactly. I mean, I don't see us having more than 10 if we have that, but if we have an emergency, and we have had a couple even this week, they will have to be housed there.
But we're not relying on Humane Society to
No, we're not. We're not.
house our animals.
No, no.
Are we gonna, you said part-time, she's gonna be part-time, so she's not gonna be full-time?
Laura be full, I'm sorry, she'll be full-time.
Okay, is the county gonna help offset her?
Yes, absolutely.
Her money, and as far as,
Absolutely.
what about
50%,
her medical insurance and stuff?
Well, right now, they're contracted. When we get to full, and that's part of what I'm going to bring to the board as far as hiring full-time, all the things that they would need, as well as what entity they would be under.
If they go full-time,
We have to offer.
anybody goes full-time,
We have to-
the employee, their self would probably be better off under our policy and everything, and insurance not. Probably. I don't know.
Probably,
But
yes.
I think we do better with employee insurance, health insurance. Maybe, I know the county has to pay part of theirs.
Right.
For the employee. Here you don't, so.
Right.
But I don't know how y'all can do that.
Yeah, and
Whatever you decide.
we're still trying to work out some of the logistics, and you're right, Alderman, that the county will have to pay half.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the model of how the comm center is.
Right, it's same type, same
Right,
thing.
and I envision it being very similar to that.
Comp Center, the way it is they work under our policy, they work under our insurance, they work under our pay scale, and the county reimburses us for one
Correct.
half of everything.
Correct.
So,
And that's the way I envision.
and
what I
that'd work
see.
either way, you know, if the county wants to do it, and I just think the employee might be a little bit better off with us, because we have better health insurance coverage.
We do.
But in the meantime, the county's gonna be responsible for buying extra these, because there's no kennels out there, there's nowhere to.
We got to buy a lot of stuff.
There's a whole lot of
We got to
supplies.
buy a lot of stuff, and one of the things that the full-time, she's trying to help us do an inventory on what we need to do, but you're right, we got to buy a lot of stuff. I mean, we're literally at scratch. We're starting over. I mean, we even got to get furniture.
And
We're
you
trying to
truly
do
think we
something.
can hold 3 months without housing animals? Because I promise you there's gonna be dogs dropped and cats off everywhere.
So
There always is.
the staff we have now, one of the reasons we are retaining them is because we do know there are going to be situations that we're going to have to house there. We're not just encouraging a lot of the normal procedures, but they're going to feed and watch and do the things they have to do, the 3 that we would have there daily.
So I guess the hopes is that during this transition period, which is gonna take a while, maybe we can handle our emergency situations without asking for help from other places. 'Cause I don't know if other places are gonna be able to help us.
But most of them are full themselves.
I don't think they're gonna be able to help us.
Yeah, they're full right now.
Yeah, it's a situation everywhere. So budget-wise, I'm assuming, and you're coming back with a plan in November, I'm assuming you're coming back with an estimated cost.
Right.
To see, we know what we've got $75,000 a year.
Right.
And you're going to have to come up with whatever initial increase it might be, to get going. And then from that point on, we'll just have to budget whatever it takes.
We're going to have to budget whatever we take. I feel like we can still keep us within for now. The biggest thing that's going to be different is that we're going to go in next Wednesday and we're going to assess the building right now. What we need is to get it very minimal. There may be some additional costs. I mean, just to make sure the plumbing is basic. The building is old. It is in bad shape. So I do expect a few dollars are going to have to be put in there that we don't have budgeted.
Okay.
Yeah, I've spoken at the governor's conference, different locations, at the South Central Human Resource meetings. This is a problem all across the state, and everyone is dealing with these type problems where it's just overwhelmed with these animals. But you have to go back to the basics. Animal control, that's what the city is mandated by the charter, is animal control. But and discourage people from dropping off there. I mean, that should be against the law for people to drop animals there. It's not a shelter, it's going to be strictly animal control. So that's what we've got to look at, and I think the police chief and maybe commander had looked at, putting more signage up there, an ordinance, something that to deter you people just dropping animals or pitching them over the fence, because Laura has talked about, them throwing animals over the fences or just leaving a basket full of animals at the front door. But this is a problem statewide. It's so we just got to get a handle on it. It's going to be a process. It's not an easy process, but it's just something that's got to be done.
Well, the Humane Society's going to stay in business, aren't they?
They are.
They are, but
Well,
they don't
They're
have
not
a
gonna have
location right
But at
now.
some point, they'll pick up
Yeah.
a big load of this.
Right.
No, not necessarily, because they're not gonna house the animals like they house at the animal control. When people get calls, when COVID get calls, or the county officer get calls, there's a bunch of animals here, dogs or cats, or what are we gonna, they drop them off. Who's gonna pick them up? Who's gonna be responsible for them? For the next 3 months, we got a mess. I mean, there's not enough room out there, and I think, Kevin, as you know, there's no place to house them. We have no food, no water. I mean, there's nothing there right now.
Right.
No blankets, nothing to wash. Who's going to be responsible for washing? There's more than just housing an animal and saying that nobody's going to drop them off. They're going to be dropped off in the city, and somebody's going to have to be responsible for picking them up. And it won't be the Humane Society.
Right. Yeah, I did this before, 20 years ago. All the things I've done, it's not the prettiest job, but, we got to uphill battle, but I will keep y'all informed. I pulled out all my contacts from the last 20 years and gotten back reacquainted with them, so. And Mayor, just to say this, you were saying it's a statewide problem, it's a countrywide, it's a national. I mean, because even as bad as we have it in Tennessee, it's a lot worse in Alabama.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there's actually laws. I'm not sure now, I'm not an attorney. I think there's probably laws on the book that a county has to have animal control. Is that right?
I know it was in Alabama for sure. I mean, the county kind of say no, but I know in Alabama it was definitely the county's responsibility.
Well, it's got to be done either way.
Right.
Whether it's a law or not, we got to do it either way.
But it's a process, and it's going to be a painful process, but we'll get through it just like we have everything else, and we'll come out better on the end. Okay, anything else, Mr. Owens?
Just want to say we're really, we're expecting, I know Vice Mayor Bryant had mentioned about just really pushing for this multimodal. We're making a lot of efforts to give it our best. We should know about our next, not this board meeting, but the November board meeting around that time, whether we will receive it. The expectation is to be notified that week of the next board meeting, November board meeting, I should say.
Well, that's $1 million and something.
$1,250,000.
With a 20% match. 10% match. And it can only be used on state right of way.
Correct. On Suffolk State right.
Which would be, well, over half the town state right of way.
Exactly.
Everything is except for a couple blocks here.
Exactly.
So, be used on the main highways going through, so.
Yeah.
If we get it.
If we get it.
Yeah. But so far.
Okay, anything else from the board?
Well, we don't have a meeting till Tuesday night, but keep our city officers' family in your prayers and Tucker's family in your prayers, because we lost two good people, man.
And thank you for that information too. I was intending to announce that too. We know that the funeral for Officer Rutherford's son would be on Saturday at 11 at First Baptist, and funeral for Officer Tucker would be Saturday at 2 at Higgins.
Hey, but he saved a lot of lives too, his warriors.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn this meeting at 9:20. Thank you.